Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Happy Friday, everybody. TGI Friday. We have made it to the end of the week. The weekend is here. St. Patty's Day weekend is here. Hope you guys are all going to have a fantastic weekend ahead. A safe one, but a fun one nonetheless. We've got our Freaky Friday 5-leg parlay for today that I'm really excited about. Make sure, guys, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, drop a comment down below. Comment TGIF if you are watching this video today, which if you're on here, obviously you are. So comment TGIF down below. We're just doing the 5-leg Freaky Friday parlay today. I think moving forward, we'll probably do like how we've been doing with the new format, which is we do the first segment as straight props. The second segment is parlays. I was originally just going to do the Freaky Friday 5-leg parlay and just that on Fridays. I think starting next week, we'll just do it how we've been doing it, where we do the first segment, we do 3 or 4 player props, and then we also do our Freaky Friday 5-leg parlay. So it just means that Fridays, you're probably going to get in the ballpark of 9 or 10 props on a Friday, which is pretty good. But for today, we're just doing a 5-leg parlay. Not a fantastic slate, not a ton of games, and the games all have a lot of high spreads, low totals. So we're sticking with the 5-leg parlay, but I did find some really valuable props. Real quick, though, let's dive into a little recap of last night. It wasn't the best. We didn't have the greatest night last night. You see here in our straight prop recap, we went 1-4. A couple of gut punches here. Kyle Kuzma, the first prop you see there was a miss. Over 23.5 points. He finished with exactly 23 points. He had 14 in the first half, only had 9 in the second. It was a real gut punch. He had 21 points with like 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter and only scored 2 more points. So that was a tough one. Kawhi Leonard, under 25.5 points. He finishes with 27 points. So just hit the over by like a point or two. So that was unfortunate. Tobias Harris, we did cash that one under 20.5 points plus assists. And then Grayson Allen, who was literally like red hot, 8 for 9 from the floor, 4 for 5 from 3 last night. Finished with 20 points and 0 assists. So he cashes his over. And then Chet, kind of a disappointing game from him, 11 points and 1 assist. So not the best night for us, but that's all right. Listen, that's why we have a new day and a new video today. We got a chance to have a bounce back slate. Looking at yesterday's parlay, we had a 4-leg parlay. We went 2 for 2. We once again, Tobias Harris, that under 20.5 point plus assist prop hit again on that one. We had Josh Giddey, which I know a lot of people were a little scared of. One guy in the comments had a lot of funny jokes about Josh Giddey yesterday. I gave me a couple good laughs yesterday. But he did actually cash over 9.5 points. He actually had 18 points, had a pretty good game. So those 2 legs hit. Again, the Kawhi Leonard prop hit just missed. And then Kevin Durant over 29.5 points plus says he did not play the best versus Boston last night. Shot 9 for 19 from the floor. So overall, not a fantastic day yesterday for us. And real quick, guys, this is our overall prop record on the year. I've handed out 254 player props. We have hit on 182 of them. That's a 71.7% hit rate. Just to let you guys know how I'm doing the prop record, I am including some of the plays in the parlay in the overall prop record. Obviously, all this year up to this point, most of these props were in these parlays to begin with. I'm not counting doubles. Like, for example, I had the Tobias Harris. I had him and Kawhi, the exact same line in the straight props and the parlays. I'm not counting that as 2 picks. I'm counting that as 1. If there's a difference, let's say I had Kawhi under 26.5 in one and under 25.5 in the other, I will count those as 2 separate props. So just to let you guys know how I'm doing my prop record, 182 props hit out of 254 given. It's a 71.7% hit rate. And this is our parlay units won since January 22nd. We are up 16.54 units, on all of our parlays dating back to January 22nd. So in the last 2 months or so, we've been pretty good again, very profitable on our parlays. All right, guys, without further ado, without any more time to waste, let's dive into today's video. Starting off the first leg of our 5-leg parlay, we are targeting the Miami Heat Detroit Pistons game. Kicks off at 7 p.m. Eastern time. We're going with Cade Cunningham of the Detroit Pistons over 19.5 points. I'm going to go ahead and kick this over to the Outlier screen now, guys. You know what Outlier is. They're the best sports betting tool on the market. Link in the description below. 7-day free trial. Do check it out for yourself. All right, we're giving Cade Cunningham a chance at redemption. If you watched my video yesterday, I went on a little bit of a rant from the other night. Cade Cunningham, we had him over 22.5 points, finishes with 19, sat the final 17 minutes of that game. He is listed as questionable for tonight. I guess they're saying that the reason why he sat the other night was he had a knee injury. Again, I don't know. Some people are saying that they saw him getting worked on when he got benched. I didn't see anything like that. I still don't have an answer for what happened. It still felt fixed to me, but we're going to give him a shot at redemption here. Over 19.5 points. Whoops. This is an alternate line at minus 210, but it is available on FanDuel, DraftKings, and Caesars. Look at the data. 8 of his last 10 games, he's cashed this over. You stretch that down to his last 20, 12 of his last 20 games, it's a 60% hit rate. And on the 2023 season as a whole, 69 nice percent hit rate. 38 out of 55 games, he has cashed this over. If we look at the head-to-head data here, each of the last 2 times he's faced off with the Miami Heat, he has cashed this over. These are both this season. Back on October 25th, he had 30 points. And on March 5th, not too long ago, he had 23 points versus Miami. You look at the defensive matchup at the right side of the screen here. Overall, the Miami Heat, a solid defensive team versus point guards. Now, here it says they're a top 10 defense, but in their last 7 games, they're actually not that great. They are the 11th worst ranked defense against point guards in the last 7 games. So in their last 7 games or so, they have been giving up quite a number of points to opposing point guards. And even if you stretch out to the last 15 games, they ranked the bottom half of the league, 12th worst defense against point guards in terms of points allowed in the last 15 games. So although here it says this is obviously their cumulative for the entire season, they're a top 10 defense. Over the last 15 games or so, they're actually ranked in the bottom half of the league in terms of points allowed against opposing point guards. So not a bad spot. He has cashes both times he played Miami this year. A solid prop for the first leg of our 5-leg parlay. A little redemption chance here for Cade Cunningham. All right, guys, second leg of our 5-leg parlay. We're targeting the Magic Raptors game, which kicks off at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. We're going with Wendell Carter Jr. of the Orlando Magic over 19.5 points plus rebounds. At a first glance, the data is not terrible. 6 of his last 10 games, he has cashed this over. He shorts that data to his last 20. Not fantastic, but not horrible. 9 of his last 20 games, it's a 45% hit rate. On the 2023 season as a whole, surprisingly, only a 41% hit rate, 16 out of 39 games. But you do see a lot of his misses were early in the year for Orlando. He's only played 39 games this season for the Magic. But most importantly here, the head-to-head data. The last time he faced off with the Toronto Raptors, which I get it was a long time ago, but he had 26 points and 6 rebounds, and that was honestly a better Raptors team at the time. So there's no head-to-head data, unfortunately, for this year for Wendell Carter Jr. He hasn't played the Raptors yet this year, but again, the last time they played, solid numbers. I get it. It was over a year ago. Very different Raptors team. But looking at the right side of the screen, the defensive rankings. The reason why I love this matchup, though, is the defensive matchup here for Wendell Carter Jr. Overall, the Raptors bottom 6 of the NBA in points allowed, giving up 118 points per game, and they are bottom 5 in rebounds allowed, giving up 45 rebounds per game. You look versus centers, you move that over, and again, on the season, bottom 9 giving up 19 points per game, and bottom 7 giving up 12.7 rebounds per game. So this is one of the worst defensive teams against centers in the NBA. And again, thanks to our friends at Fantasy Pros, we're able to go ahead and kind of look a little deeper, a little closer into the defensive matchups and the defensive versus positions for teams. And so, for example, I went ahead and looked at the last 7 games for Toronto. They, Jesus, almost choked there on my own fucking spit. In the last 7 games, the Toronto Raptors are the 4th worst team defensively against centers in terms of points allowed, and they are the worst defensive team in the NBA against centers in terms of rebounds allowed in their last 7 games. In their last 7 games, the Toronto Raptors are giving up 25.3 points per game to opposing centers, and they're giving up a whopping 22.51 rebounds per game to opposing centers. The next worst team is Washington at 18.69 rebounds per game. So almost 4 more rebounds per game allowed to centers versus the next worst team. And a lot of that has to do with injury. You look over here, the injuries here. Jakob Poeltl has been out, and they've had Kelly Olynyk starting at center, which is not great. You see he's still out. A lot of injuries for the Raptors tonight. Jakob Poeltl not playing and Kelly Olynyk starting at center, not exactly a recipe for success. So again, normally I wouldn't be hammering a Wendell Carter Jr. prop, but in this circumstance, considering the matchup, I have to take this over 19.5 points plus rebounds. That's the second leg of our 5-leg parlay. All right, guys, third leg of our 5-leg parlay. I am a glutton for punishment. We're going to run back with the exact same prop we took last night. And I know you may say I'm stupid for doing this, but I'm running it again. Kawhi Leonard under 25.5 points. We bet this yesterday. He finished with 27 points. He is now on a second night of a back-to-back. He was already questionable yesterday with back spasms. I believe he's already questionable again today. Second night of a back-to-back. He had 27 points last night versus the Bulls. You look at the data, 5 of his last 10 games, he has cashed this under. He kind of hovers. When he does hit, it's not like he hits by a lot. You see here 27, 26, 27. You look at his last 20 games. Again, 10 of his last 20 games, a 50% hit rate. You look at the 2023 season as a whole, though, a 56% hit rate. 33 out of 59 games this year, he has cashed this under. But here's where it starts getting good, right? He has cashed this under in 4 of his last 5 games versus the New Orleans Pelicans, including all 3 times he's played the Pelicans this year. On November 24th, he had 20 points. On January 5th, he had 19 points. And on the last time they played on February 7th, he had 15 points. You look at the minutes played, he's playing 34, 29, and 33 minutes. Second night of a back-to-back, I don't expect Kawhi Leonard on the road as well to be playing north of 30 plus. I don't think they're going to give him like 35 minutes tonight on the second night of a back-to-back. So I do, and also on top of all that, the defensive rankings, the New Orleans Pelicans on the season are the 8th best defense in the NBA in terms of points allowed in total. Versus the small forward, they are a top 5 defense in the NBA, giving up just 19 points per game to opposing small forwards. I know Kawhi can also slot some minutes at power forward. They're also top 5 in the NBA defensively against power forwards as well. And that data holds true over the last 7 games. They are still top 5 in the league in terms of points allowed against those positions. So, really good defensive team, a fantastic defensive matchup with the Pelicans. Second night of a back-to-back on the road. I just don't see Kawhi Leonard having another big game here. He's cashed this all 3 times he's played the Pelicans this year. I love this spot for the third leg of our 5-leg parlay. All right, guys, we are cruising along here. 4th leg of our 5-leg parlay. We're targeting the Nuggets-Spurs game, which kicks off at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going Contavious Caldwell-Pope of the Denver Nuggets over 10.5 points plus assists. The data is fantastic on this prop, and it's only at -110, so a really solid value for data. That's fantastic. He's covered this in 8 of his last 10 games. You stretch that data out to his last 20, 14 of his last 20 games is a 70% hit rate that he has cashed this over. On the 2023 season as a whole, a 67% hit rate, 40 out of 60 games, he has cashed this over. And when you look at the head-to-head matchup, each of the last 4 times he's faced off with the San Antonio Spurs, he has cashed this over, including the one time he played them this year. Just one time, November 26th, he had 16 points and 6 assists. Overall, the San Antonio Spurs, bottom 5 in the NBA in points allowed, bottom 7 in assists allowed. And versus the shooting guard position, it doesn't get much better. They are bottom 2 in both points allowed and assists allowed to opposing shooting guards. And he does spot some minutes at small forward. If you want to go ahead and look over there, it is better. They're a lot better defensively versus the 3. But overall, the Spurs, not a great team, and he is primarily a shooting guard. That is the 4th leg of our 5-leg parlay. All right, guys, 5th and final leg of today's parlay. We're targeting the Hawks-Jazz game. It kicks off at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going with Colin Sexton of the Utah Jazz over 19.5 points. This is a heavy alternate line at -230. You look at here, the data is not the best. He's hit this in only 5 of his last 10 games. On the 2023 season as a whole, 29 out of 65 games, a 45% hit rate. Over his last 20, also 45% hit rates. And then you look at the head-to-head. The last time he played Atlanta, the one time they played this year on February 27th, he had 22 points in a blowout loss for the Jazz. So, Tasso, the data is not great, and it's a -235 alternate on DraftKings, -230 on FanDuel. Why are you running with this line? Well, there's a couple reasons. Maybe not a couple reasons, more or less it's about the matchup. Now, Jordan Clarkson and Chris Dunn are both out for the Jazz tonight, so that means there's going to be more minutes allotted to Keontae George and Colin Sexton. They're going to have to eat more minutes because they are a little bit thinner at the guard position. Overall, the Atlanta Hawks, the 3rd worst team in the NBA defensively in terms of points allowed, giving up 121 points per game to opposing teams. Versus the shooting guard position, they are bottom 9 on the season, giving up 28.6 points per game to opposing shooting guards. And that data stays true even if you look at the more recent data. It's actually even worse. Over the last 15 games, the Atlanta Hawks are the 2nd worst defensive team in the NBA in terms of points allowed to the shooting guard position. According to Fantasy Pros, the Atlanta Hawks are giving up over 26 points per game to opposing shooting guards, which is the 2nd worst mark in the NBA. Only the Brooklyn Nets are above them, and it's very, very slight. So no Clarkson, no Dunn means probably more minutes for Sexton, probably more minutes for Keontae George. The Atlanta Hawks are not that great of a team. It's only a 2.5-point spread that the Hawks are favored. So they're projecting this. Vegas is projecting this to be a relatively close game. Bad defensively versus guards. No Trae Young also. So DeJounte Murray moves over to the point guard spot. I do think that Colin Sexton here, and a great defensive matchup for him personally, should be able to get 20 points here for the Jazz. Also no Lauri Markkanen tonight for Utah. So in terms of the scoring, they're going to need Colin Sexton to step up and take some more shots and score some more points. I know the Jazz are starting a little tanky. Like they're starting to look like they're going to get ready to tank now and give up on the year. But I do think that Colin Sexton will still cover this line of over 19.5.